Journal entry, October 9th, 2024. Reflecting on my last journal entry, I'm reminded of a mystery not often understood about gifts given by spirits. In mythology, we frequently see a hero or individual receiving a gift from a god, goddess, or spirit. These gifts can be intangible blessings or physical objects, and it's the physical gifts that most non-practitioners don't fully grasp. These objects aren't just tools, they represent a contract with a spirit. Many people mistake these for ritual tools you can buy, but the truth is, if a spirit bestows an object, it's often tied to a specific task or person. The power within the object is rarely something you can just wield at will. It's part of a binding magical agreement. Unlike the energy manipulation that many occult practitioners use to imbue objects with specific energies or purposes, a spirit-gifted item has a whole different set of rules. In the occult world, practitioners frequently forge objects for their own rituals, imbuing them with energies to perform magical tasks. This is a common practice, but it's a far cry from what happens when a spirit grants an object. In mythology, these gifts are often given for a task the spirit wants completed, or, in some cases, because the spirit is forced to give up the item. Think about Hermes giving the lyre to Apollo. It wasn't just a musical instrument, it carried deeper significance. Or consider the golden fleece. It wasn't just a trophy to hang on a wall. It had power and purpose. As the custodian of a magical archive, I've come across all kinds of magical objects, some created by practitioners and passed down through wills or more dubious means. Thievery comes to mind, and others which are tethered to spirits or possibly even haunted. These objects have their own stories and their own rules, far different from anything you can buy or forge yourself. Details on creating magical objects are easy to find, whether it's talismans designed to harness astrological or elemental energies, or poppets and dolls used to interact with the energy of a person or place from a distance. Yes, you can create a poppet of a place, not just a person. However, what I find sorely lacking in most of the literature is a deeper understanding of physical gifts from spirits, their significance, and what they truly represent. I can't help but laugh when I see beginner practitioners waving around cheap plastic daggers or keys, believing they're imbued with the power of a spirit. In reality, most of the time they've just bought cheap trinkets from China, or maybe a well-crafted but spiritually hollow item from Etsy. There's a world of difference between buying a shiny object and receiving a genuine gift from a spirit. Yes, you can create an object, bind a spirit to it, and pass it on for use, but that's actual magic, not something your average shopkeeper is capable of doing, despite what's being marketed in those quaint witchcraft shops you find in villages. What I'm talking about here is when a spirit bestows a physical gift upon you, or grants you a power or ability that manifests physically in the real world. The object itself may have use, but it is often more symbolic, a representation of a contract or bond with that spirit. Over the years, I've received many such gifts. Some were meant for one-time or short-term workings, while others I've kept for a lifetime. Interestingly, I didn't go out and buy them. They came to me as part of my dealings with spirits. When members of the mystery school sought to work with well-known spirits, those familiar names that always seem to pop up, I always expected them to be gifted something to symbolize the connection. If a spirit actually wanted to work with them, it would offer a gift, often imbued with a power or ability that the practitioner either needed immediately or would require in the future. The trick is, these gifts are rarely straightforward. Often, they come in the form of a puzzle, an object whose true purpose or power isn't immediately obvious. The practitioner would have to figure it out, and only by solving the puzzle would they be able to unlock the object's true potential. One of the most common gifts, and one of the spirits people are most drawn to working with, is Hecate, though calling her a goddess doesn't quite capture her full nature. That, however, would be revealing too much of her mysteries. Hecate seems to be a popular figure among the incense-burning, tie-dye-wearing neo-pagans who worship goddesses, but very few of them actually manage to form a real connection with her. It's not for lack of trying. You see, no matter how many plastic statues of Hecate you buy or how many candles you burn, you're unlikely to ever gain her audience unless you're truly committed to serious work. Hecate doesn't bother with casual seekers or those simply seeking favours because of her associations. She's a spirit for doers, witches and practitioners on a genuine quest. If you don't have a task or purpose that aligns with her interests, she may accept the energy you offer, but you'll never actually see her or feel her hand guiding you. For those who do manage to connect with her, one of the most common gifts she bestows is keys, a powerful symbol of her blessing, which means she approves of the practitioner's work and is willing to assist. But these keys aren't the kind you can buy from a witchcraft shop or find in a bargain bin on Etsy. No, when Hecate gives you a key, it might not be a literal one, and its purpose often isn't immediately clear. Practitioners who receive her keys frequently find them in the most unexpected places, on a car park floor, mysteriously appearing on their keychains, or even handed to them by a stranger on the street. Each key serves a specific purpose, whether it's to solve a problem or open a door, often metaphorical when the time is right. I've seen everything from ornate, ancient-looking keys to digital keys. One of my favourites was a set of Allen Key's hex keys, where each one solved a different issue for a practitioner. The fun part was going back afterward to analyse the symbology of the key sizes and how they corresponded to the problems they solved. Hecate's gifts, especially her keys, are not just tokens, they are puzzle pieces, often only understood once the problem is resolved. One of the more powerful and complex gifts I've been bestowed is the Scythe of Santa Muerte and the contract I have with her. What amuses me most about it is how, when she gave it to me, she made it very clear that I would misuse it, that it would be taken away and eventually returned. As a practitioner, it's always strange knowing what's going to happen, especially when you know you'll make a mistake, and yet you still walk right into it. Some might wonder why. If I knew a thing would go wrong, I didn't stop it. But in this case, it was different. The heart outweighed the head, and despite my best efforts, I misused the authority she gave me. Looking back, it makes you feel a bit mad if you dwell on it too long, but in the moment, it's as if you have no choice. If I had been asked beforehand to promise not to misuse the scythe, I would have sworn it wholeheartedly. But when the moment came, and the need to act presented itself, I used that object to do something that should never have been done. Words matter deeply in magic, and clearly, Santa Muerte knew this better than anyone. She built that inevitability into the contract, understanding that my human nature would play out exactly as it did. I could go into how the scythe was given to me and what it's meant to do, but that's a tale for another time. The key point here is that the power was mine to wield, and the responsibility too. The mistake was mine as well, but ultimately it doesn't change the grand scheme of things. Dealing with death has a way of putting things into perspective. She gets everyone and everything eventually. The universe itself is finite after all, and will end. Death, and by extension the Saturnian spirits, aren't evil as so many believe. They simply seek to balance the scales, and they're remarkably flexible about how that's done, so long as the numbers add up in the end. High-level magic is really just understanding how to make those scales balance. But then again, perhaps I've already said too much.